All right, what up, y'all? Let's talk about cannabis. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. But cannabis. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I've experienced all three. And I'm not here to preach to anybody. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just here to share my experience with you. I've been using cannabis for half of my life. I'm 35, consistently using it for probably over 10 years at this point. There's been times where I took breaks early on in my 20s. Let's just say I was broke, so I couldn't afford it. So there'd be times where I wouldn't use it, and I would just use it occasionally. And then as time went on, I started to use it more and more and more to the point where after 25, I started working in the cannabis industry. I don't remember exactly when. It was actually around 28. I started working in the cannabis industry. So I've worked in dispensaries, I've worked in manufacturing facility, packaging it, trimming it. I've worked, the retail side of things. So just assisting people who are coming in to buy it. They call those bud tenders. It's so corny, honestly. But yeah, I've been around it for the past few years of my life consistently, and I grow it. I've grown it since 2020, on and off. It's an extensive process to grow it yourself. You got to buy all the equipment. There's ways you can minimize the cost, but let's just say I've put so much money into it. I did my business plan in college when I was around 21 on starting a dispensary. So basically it became my religion. The reason why is because early on it did help me. My background comes from not having a close relationship with my father. My family issues would come out, and kind of get passed down to me. Like so many people out there can relate to that, I'm sure. I was a very angry, anxious, introverted, antisocial child. And so when I discovered cannabis, around 18 is when I really started using it. Actually, the first time I used it was in 5th grade. I don't recommend that. It's just what happened. Being surrounded by the wrong influences, not being supervised, led to me trying it in 5th grade, and I actually got caught and I got in trouble. So kind of scared me straight for the most part. And my mom was very overprotective, kind of sheltering me from things because she probably just knew, growing up in the city I'm in, Albuquerque, New Mexico, it's not the best place if you want to succeed in life as far as not doing drugs, not being in dead end jobs, not being surrounded by low lifes. But that's not the topic of this video, so just giving you a background. So I got in trouble in 5th grade. My mom caught me because I was with some friends, and his older brother introduced it to us. And he was already, my friend from 5th grade was already into it. So he was just kind of being the peer pressure on me to try it. And I ended up trying it and didn't get anything from it because in 5th grade, you don't even know what you're really doing, right? Honestly, I don't recommend anybody to even use it until about 25. Studies are showing that you should only use it after your brain is fully developed. But let's be real, most people who try it or consistently use it probably started before then. So around 18 is when I kind of started my rebellious phase. It was a prime recipe for disaster because my parents were going through a divorce. It was a very messy divorce. And not just that, they were pastor. Well, my stepdad was a pastor, okay? So church was my entire life. I grew up in this church, and this church grew to be basically a mega church. So like my entire social life at that time, I was there all the time. I was always told, don't do drugs, you'll go to hell. It's going to send you to hell. The devil's going to torture you forever if you smoke weed or if you do anything bad, right? So this fear that was instilled in me made me think, okay, well, I don't want to do it. That's scary, And when I turned 18, I was just hanging around certain people that were like, hey, let's go party, let's go do this. And they always tell me, hey, do you want to try this? Do you want to try that? And I was like, nah, I don't really want to do drugs. I had a friend that was like, hey, come to a rave with me. It's going to be fun. There's all telling me all these crazy stories. And I'm just like, not really into that. I was totally straight, right? I was like what they would call a square. My friends would call me, goody two shoes. So I would always say no. And a lot of people try to say cannabis is a gateway drug. To me, that's incorrect. Alcohol is the gateway drug because alcohol lowers your inhibition. So I was saying no to these people, and I was like, no, I don't want to try that. Well, you know what happened? I ended up getting drunk and partying, and just my lack of impulse control at that time, I got carried away with it, and I ended up trying things, not just cannabis. So when I started using cannabis, I started to realize like, wow, this actually does make me feel good. Because like I said, from coming from my background, my kind of like my unstable upbringing, my childhood was kind of chaotic at times, witnessing, addiction within my family, abuse, anger issues, people yelling, and I'm sure many people can relate It's not like an uncommon situation, but I reacted to it by rebelling. And like I said, also coming from a church background, I went the opposite direction. So the reason why I started using it consistently was because it gave me an alternative perspective. It helped me look at myself. It helped me accept certain things about myself. It helped me kind of love myself because I didn't. Now that's a long process to learn to love yourself. For me anyways, it was a long process to learn to love myself because of all of these thoughts that were always in my mind, kind of just living in my imagination. So it helped me kind of collect all those thoughts and see, and filter through them. And it also made me feel good. It made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And it's kind of interesting because cannabis is grown for the female plants, because male plants don't really produce as much as the active psychoactive substance, which is THC, and of course there's other cannabinoids within the plant that have effects. So when you grow cannabis, you're after the female plants, and on a more esoteric level, that's feminine energy. So I think I was lacking that feminine energy in me, probably because my mom was trying to play both roles by being a single parent. I didn't really have a strong relationship with my dad, so I identified with my mom. But because she had to kind of play both roles, I was not getting everything I needed from her. You know, that emotional stability, it's hard to get from a single mother, you know, when they're trying to play both roles. So it led to me to being very emotional. And so when I would use cannabis, it would kind of comfort me. There was this comfort. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, why did the church tell me it's bad and I'm going to go to hell? This is amazing. This is medicine. It's helping me. And I like to put it like this. If you have a scale, a vibratory scale of like low vibration all the way up to high vibration, low vibration being like anger and things we associate with negativity, anxious, depression, you know, just low energy. And then you go up and you get the high energy, and that's like spirituality and like great things, right? So what it did was it took me from a 1. I was very low. I was just in this state of just mental anxiety, and then it brought me up to like a 5. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was like a whole new world, a whole new perspective. And so I attached to it. I was like, this is amazing. Kind of like my first girlfriend. I attached to it because I was like looking for something. I didn't have love, so I was looking for it, right? So cannabis kind of came in. It was like this chemical enhancement, right? It just enhanced the way music sounded. It enhanced the way food tasted. It enhanced the way experiences felt. And by attaching to it, I became like basically like it became my religion. And I was like, yeah, you guys are wrong. You guys are telling me this is bad. This is not bad. And I went to the other side. I like bounced from extreme being clean to the other extreme, just like trying everything, not just cannabis. And honestly, I think cannabis helped protect my brain from a lot of the other things I was doing because it does have neuroprotective properties. It's not all bad. I'm not here to say it's bad, but what I'm here to say is anything out of balance is going to have side effects. And if you idolize the plant, you're losing sight of your purpose, because our purpose isn't just to eat food or consume a medicine or even work a job. We're human beings are much more intricate and complex than just one thing, but so many people like to identify with one thing, right? And for me, for a long time, that was cannabis. And so I ended up getting so interested in it that I did my business plan in college around 21 years old. I did my business plan on starting a dispensary because it was at the time medically legal in my state. Currently, it is recreational also, so it's everywhere, which led me to eventually trying to get into the cannabis industry to work, which didn't happen for a while, but eventually, after around 27, 28, I found a job at a CBD shop, which then led to dispensaries, which then led to manufacturing, which is like packaging, trimming, pre-rolls, edibles, stuff like that. I've made edibles. I have a rosin press. I've extracted it with ethanol. I've done so many different things that I do. You're talking to somebody who's been in the mix of all things cannabis, okay? So it's taken over a lot of my time for sure, and I've invested so much money into all of my grow equipment, lights, nutrients, you know, trying to get the best soil and all this stuff. And here I am making this video documenting now I'm going to stop using it. And it's not like I'm going to stop using it forever. I'm not telling myself it's forever, but I just want to go for an extended period of time to just reset. And it might continue for years. Who knows? But the thing is, I'm just kind of tired of it. I'm burnt out, right? It's kind of a term that cannabis users are very familiar with. Burnout is real. Your receptors get burnt out. You become so desensitized to it that your tolerance is way up here and you need copious amounts of it just to feel normal. So what started as a benefit, an acute benefit, short-term benefit, if you continue to use it and rely on it, those benefits disappear and eventually they flip into side effects. So a lot of people think they're using it for sleep and it's it puts me to sleep. Yeah, it induces sleep, but it actually suppresses your REM sleep, which REM sleep is vital to your brain's health, to emotional health, to be able to hold on to memories and let go of unnecessary memories, right? And if you're messing with that, that's going to come with some side effects. So I notice every time I do take a break, my sleep improves dramatically. My appetite, once I get it back, initially I'm not going to have the appetite. You're gonna, because if you're using it to get the munchies all the time, when you stop using it, your body's relying on it just to eat. So once my appetite ends up coming back, it's like, wow, I'm eating more. I feel better. Like I feel more satiated. I'm eating healthier. I'm not binging out on sweets. I'm not playing video games as much. I'm doing more productive things, right? And I would consider myself high functioning. I've been using it for a long time and I would be able to go to work, drive. I don't recommend that, but people do what they do. And I would go to the gym. It actually helped me in the gym. It would actually put me more in tune with my body. But then again, the more you do it, then it turns into just lethargy and fatigue. And then before you know it, what started as being in tune with your body flips into being ignorant of certain things in your body. Or maybe you need to work out an injury and it's kind of just putting a Band-Aid on it and because you're not noticing it because maybe it's just numbing you at that point. So there's different levels to the dependency. And I noticed so many stoners, they have such a hard time admitting that. And I'm not your typical stoner. I've always been the one to tell people like, yeah, take CBD. It's going to help with side effects and make sure you take breaks and stuff. But a lot of people are not like that. Coming from somebody who's worked in the industry, serving it to customers and working with people who got fired because they were just so burnt out because they couldn't even keep a balanced cash drawer, and just seeing like how people would just come in scrounging up the change they had just to get 1 gram. Otherwise they would go ape shit. So I've seen it. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And for me, the ugly part is just, I feel like not living up to my full potential and settling. And the thing with cannabis is it makes you comfortable with mediocrity. Sometimes we get anxious because we're not doing what we should be doing. Sometimes we get depressed because we're not excelling, right? Sometimes we get stressed because there's areas of our life that we're procrastinating on and we're just pushing it to the side. And it's very easy for you to just go smoke and then you're like, okay, everything's fine now. No worries. Don't worry, be happy. Bob Marley, right? And so it's tricky because cannabis can kind of lull you to sleep. And it literally kills your dreams, like literally, like your REM sleep, right? So that can happen in a long process to where you don't really notice it. And then you get to a point where you're like, man, I got to take a break now. Well, for me, I got to take a break. And I'm like, wow, when I take a break and that haze disappears and I'm not burnt out anymore, my body gets back into balance on its own without a chemical dependency. Then I start to notice like, wow, I think I like this better. And it's funny, it's because like you're like, well, when you're sober, you want to get high, and then you get high and you're like, I'd rather be sober. It's like this weird mentality that you're working through in the process of giving up a dependency. And I won't use the word addiction because I know there's far greater addictions out there, but anybody who says you can't get addicted to cannabis, I believe is wrong. Now there's levels, of course. It's much milder compared to other things. But that's kind of where the danger is. It's because it's so easy to just use it and kind of carry on that, again, you don't really notice the detrimental effects until later on. And then you're like, wow, like I didn't realize I couldn't eat without it and I need it to do everything. And like my tolerance was so high, and I'm sure other people can relate to this, that I would literally use it before bed and then wake up in the middle of the night because my body couldn't even stay asleep without it. And then wake up at anywhere from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. and have to use it again just to go back to sleep. So that's a bad state to be in. You don't want to be where I was. And also I would notice like my digestive issues would increase. And it's just because that what cannabis does is it's affecting a part of your body, the endocannabinoid system, that affects everything else. It affects sleep. It affects your stress responses. It affects your appetite. It affects your mood. So it's just like once you start hijacking that system, your body becomes so numb to the cannabinoids that, you know, you find yourself doing wax, edibles, flower, everything just to feel normal. And so I got tired of that, and that's why I'm making this video. So I'm going to continue to make videos about this. My channel is not necessarily about cannabis, but it's going to be a part of it because that's just who I am, or that's my experience. And my page is mainly just about all of my experiences and, you know, maybe goals and stuff that I'm trying to achieve and documenting the process. So I'll continue to make more videos kind of saying, you know, maybe today I feel a craving and I just want to let you guys know and talk about it. Or maybe today I feel great. Today I got great sleep. I mean, I'm on day 3 right now. In the past couple of years, actually, if you go back to my very first video on YouTube, I was 10 days clean and I had quit my job at Amazon because I realized I only took it because they didn't drug test me. It was so easy to get in. And then I was like, well, if I stop smoking, why am I even here? You know, I could make more money somewhere else. So I've been going back and forth with this for a few years now. And the longest I've went without it is 2 months. And then since then, it's been like a month here, couple weeks here and there. And then I'll fall back into it, or something will happen in my life that kind of stresses me out. And then I'm just like, okay, it's whatever. And if you're in that same position, don't judge yourself. Don't make it so like dogmatic to where like I can't use it or I'm never going to use it again. Maybe if that helps you, sure. But for me, I don't think that way. I don't like to judge myself anymore like I used to. And I don't like to judge others either. So I just want to make it more down to earth, like an authentic vlog of my experience with it. So there's kind of a commitment I'm making with this video. Like, okay, I want to see how long I can go. I want to go longer than 2 months for sure. I'm thinking maybe 6 months to a year. A year would be great. And then from there, maybe even I might continue. I might be sober for the rest of my life. Who knows? I don't really partake in alcohol or anything anymore. The only drugs I partake in nowadays is just caffeine and nicotine. I use nicotine gum just for like the cognitive benefits. So yeah, I'll continue to talk about this. If you guys got anything out of this, I hope you did. You know, let me know what you'd like to hear about, you know, from my experiences working in the cannabis industry, of which I have a lot of stories. Because cannabis industry, it's funny. It's like maybe because it's run by potheads, that's why it is the way it is. But there's so much dirty shit that happens in the cannabis industry as far as like ethical, like selling moldy weed to customers, backdooring product from other states, which is a big no-no in a regulated state. So, and I've seen it all. So let me know what you want me to talk about. I'll cut this video right now just because I can keep ranting about this because there's so much to it. But yeah, I just want to make this video just to put that out there to the public to say, hey, if you're going through this too, you know, I'm with you. Hang in there, you know, just practice discipline, you know, get in the gym. Working out helps tremendously with the side effects and the withdrawals. And I'm not even here to tell you to stop. If you're using it moderately and you're able to continue in your life and you're not like me where you need it all the time, then, you know, that's great. Happy for you. And I can kind of do that nowadays too, but I'm really just trying to just completely give it up for a while. So I hope you guys like this video. I'll catch you in the next one, and have a great day. Peace.